Hi there. I am Matt with K15T, and we are live talking about admin features in Confluence. This is a super exciting time because I am, first off, joined by Mixmaster Stefan over here, who will be rocking in the chat, helping me organize this entire stream because y'all know I can barely do it on my own. This session is actually very exciting because we are part of an ongoing week-long Confluence Premium Week celebration that's going on this week here in November. If you're watching the recording of this, y'all missed it, but all of the content is still here and recorded, so check it all out. But we are really excited to be here because there's a lot of fun things happening. So let me tell you about that, and then we'll talk about the stream, and then we'll get into it. Okay, so first of all, if you would like to share what you have learned at today's session, you can go to the link that Stefan's going to drop in the chat, and there you can share what you've learned, and you'll be entered to win some Premium Week swag. This is exclusive to this week. I'm sorry if you're watching the recording. You cannot get the swag. This is a once and done swag option. Also, if there are questions that we do not answer, first of all, what are we doing? But second of all, you can drop those into this second link here for an AMA that's going to happen on Friday. AMA is Ask Me Anything, where we can grill people on admin features or premium features that were not talked about today. You can get the answers that you need. And then finally, check out all the other Premium Week things that are happening throughout the week by going to this community post. Now, just so you know, we are going to talk about some features that are only available on Confluence Premium, but also features that are available to everybody, and then those that are available to the people on a standard Confluence plan, because all of us are using Confluence. We're just going to explore all the possible things that we can do, especially for admins, because we love our Confluence admins. Also, for the live stream, this is live, which means you will see me scratch my head. You will see Stefan sneeze. If you do, you'll probably also hear it because he has a great sneeze. So please drop into the live chat and talk with us. Oh my gosh, I see you all in there. Hi from Colorado, hi from Germany, hi from Montreal, hi from Finland, hi from Tibet, Belgium, the Netherlands. Wow, it's great to have you all here. Use #question if you have a question to drop in the chat. That just helps us identify it so that we can get answers to your questions. Also, if you would hit that like button, that would be super cool because that tells YouTube that we've got something going on here and that tells them to promote it. So those are all of the housekeeping things for now. Thank you for holding on as we just have a lot to share. We've got people from Australia and Spain and California and Illinois and Maine. This is starting to sound a little bit like a rap. And Iceland and Germany. This is amazing. Thank you all for joining us. And by us, I do not just mean me. I do not just mean this cardboard cutout of me or this cardboard cutout of Stefan. I mean, we are also joined today by our lovely guest, John Hooper from Atlassian. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, Matt. Great to be here, and I'm looking forward to my cardboard cutout shutting up soon.
We should have a hall of cardboard cutout versions of all of the guests who join us. That would be incredible.
I think so. I think that's the move.
That's fantastic. I was thinking of replacing you at some point with a Rovo agent, but now I can just do it with a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, and maybe give it another 6 months. I think we'll be able to do that, no problem.
I think I'm trying to get some of the PMs from the Rovo team on the live stream early next year. So I'll check with them then. Be like, hey, could I just replicate John Hooper? Just a yes or no question. Please let me know. What would the prompt be for that? Christine, I would love to give you a cardboard cutout as well. Also, but we're trying to stay green, okay? I can't just cardboard cut out everybody. We have to have a limit at some point. We'll think about that. So everybody, we threw a quick poll in the chat. If you'd like to answer, we'd love to know if you are a Confluence admin and if you are not. Good news is I used to be a Confluence admin, so I'm really excited about today. Better news is I am not a Confluence admin anymore because I liked, when I learn how to do things, I kind of break things, and I broke a lot of things for my Confluence users. Oh, especially my Jira users. God bless them. I've wrecked Jira so many times. All right, so you all might be wondering, why do I have John here? And it is because John is a product manager behind Admin Experiences. Ooh, mysterious. John, the very first admin experience that I think a lot of us are curious about is a little something called custom domains, which allows you to add a custom domain for Confluence or Jira. So rather than it being the normal whatever.atlassian.com thing, you can have it kind of have your brand name in it or say what you want it to say. So I'd love to know a little bit about that feature, why it was implemented the way that it was, and I don't know, your grand thoughts. This has been around for a while, John. People have had custom domains on their mind. So tell us a little bit about the thought behind this feature. And I would love to see things as well, if you have stuff to show us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So custom domains is something that I believe was a 13-year-old request from our community of users and admins. So obviously it's something that we knew was on people's minds for a long time, like you mentioned. I think it also was the most requested item by users and admins, I think by 5x over the second place item. So again, clearly it's something that we knew people cared a lot about. In terms of how we implemented it, why we did the things that we did, I think the big thing to call out is that I think sometimes these types of projects where, we see something like this in the URL where it's like, cool, this says atlassian.net. I want it to be personally branded. I want it to, if I'm Acme, I want it to be acme.com. So that way it can be whitelisted. That way it just fits our branding. It's more familiar to our user base, whatever reason there might be for why you want this type of thing. It seems relatively simple in terms of, can't we just change a couple of the, pieces of the subdomain here and we're good to go? And obviously, I think that is a fair way to look at it. Internally, though, this was something that did have a really high level of technical complexity, which is why that I think it took us a long time to implement it, even though there was a really strong signal that people were very interested in this. I think the other part too to mention, and I'll start to share kind of where you can do this and actually manage this, is the element of how it was implemented with having kind of the 2-level subdomains within the custom domains that I'll show you in just a second. And I guess the core part that I want to drive home is that I think the challenge that comes out with custom domains is that once a custom domain is being used, where again, let's say instead of using atlassian.net as part of the subdomain, like you see here, it switches to acme.com, then it's something that's no longer within our control. And given the fact that, we design Atlassian products to be open and able to be collaborated with, this does open us up potentially to those man-in-the-middle type attacks. And given that security is such a priority for us, one of, if not the number one priority for us, it's something that we just wanted to make sure, like, we needed to take this approach to make sure that we're not putting your information at risk in any way with this. And so maybe with that as a segue for background, I'll get into a little bit to how actually to change your domain from the standard Atlassian one to a custom domain.
Please do.
Actually,
let's break for just a second, just so you know, John, our audience is 89% admins, which is lovely. And I believe the feature you're about to show us is part of Confluence Premium specifically. Is that right? Custom domains?
That's right.
All right. Yeah. So if you want to customize your domain, this is part of Confluence Premium. All right, John.
Awesome. Thank you for the clarification.
Show us the magic.
Cool. So the way that you would change this is, let's say we're in Confluence today. We would go over here and switch to, go over to Atlassian Administration. I already have it open, so I'm just going to pop to this tab here. And the way you're going to find it is to navigate to the Products tab and then find the product that you want to manage. Excuse me, what am I talking about? Yeah, Confluence. And then we go to Product URLs here, and then we say, let's add a custom domain. And so first off, we just like to give you a little bit of background here around, some of the things that you need to be ready for and prepare for with making this change. And then you can go ahead and, of course, you're going to select Confluence because it's the best. And once you're there, you can put in your custom domain. And so in terms of this, let's say that we want to do something like this. We want to call it internal docs at acme.com. I'm also going to add in the /wiki right there. And then this is another piece that I wanted to, sorry, I guess that I don't need to do that. I forgot about that. One thing I wanted to show too is this piece right here of having the ability to put in a redirect, where we know that, this is not necessarily the exact implementation that people wanted in this case. It works the same way across all the Atlassian products, but people want things potentially to be a little bit shorter, more concise. And so we do have this ability here if people want to put in an optional redirect to take out one of these different subdomains. So in this case, instead of being the full, you can see I've done this before with the little pop-up there, but instead of also including that first subdomain, you can take it down to just the one there. So that's how you choose what your new custom domain would be. You hit next, and then you can create this. I'm not going to do that since we are on one of our demo accounts here. But once you do that, basically what you would do is you would update your DNS provider, and then finally you come back and you activate your domain. And I'd say within about 30 minutes, you'll be up and running and ready to go on the new domain.
A lot of exciting words: custom domains, domain provider, etc. This is one of those features where when you demo it, it's like, oh, that's not really that fun. But so having worked for 2 different software companies now for over 10 years, working on platforms, a feature like this, like someone who just dropped in the chat, good old, what is the ticket number again? Thank you, Thorsten. Cloud
6999.
6999. We love you, 6999. May you forever rest. This is one of those things that's so easy to ask for, and then everyone looks at implementation and they're like, oh my, that is just going to be so hard to implement for like a variety of reasons. And just like some of these, the opportunity for a man-in-the-middle attack, that's a type of cybersecurity attack, the things that have to be done to mitigate those attacks on a platform are massive. You have to do everything from like looking at like, could somebody insert scripts into the UI of Confluence to start getting into the back end, executing commands, to how our domains implemented. This is the kind of stuff that John has probably stayed up at night having nightmares about, I would guess. Maybe the engineers have, and John's just like, well, I got to tell people how this works at some point. I'm going to be on a live stream, and that's what I'm having a nightmare about.
No, I was dreaming about this for weeks for you and I to do the live stream. But yes, definitely had some nights where sleeping was a little bit tough with how we were going to implement this. It was a multi-year effort. I think once we saw that the people on that Atlassian Cloud 6999 ticket, once they were creating and printing shirts for people that had been voting for the ticket for a long time, we realized we certainly were overdue to do something.
We have a question here from Juanma. I don't know if I'm saying that, friend. I'm so sorry if I'm not. Will custom domains be available for both cloud and data center? John just showed it in cloud. John, can we do this on data center?
Not currently. Right now, it's only available on cloud for Confluence. I know the team has explored things there, but as far as I know, they don't have an official date set as to when they plan to implement this into data center as well. Okay. I believe with data center, you have a little bit more flexibility with your web servers, so you can do some things with like, I think some people have done things with like Nginx and stuff, but it's not supported as part of the Confluence suite at the moment, or the Atlassian suite, I should say. All right, very cool. And let me see if we have any other questions. Not yet. Fantastic. John, I'd love to have you show us something else, because I'm pretty excited to see a little bit more about space ownership. And this is available to all editions of Confluence. All right, we're not talking premium at the moment. Talk to us a little bit about space owners, because this is a new concept in Confluence. Yeah, absolutely. And I think really what we're excited about is that we've made some significant investments in space management overall. We realize that this is an area, especially with our customers that have many spaces or many different teams that are within Confluence. It can be challenging to connect, how many spaces do I have? who owns them, are they active, all these different things, and like having a central convenient place to go in and actually do the management of them. So first off, I guess maybe even just starting out with this, we recently released this feature, I guess just a couple weeks ago, called Spaces. And what this is a place where we are now allowing product admins to come in and view all of those spaces and take action on them. And so maybe I could have narrated this as I was going to it, but basically the way you find this feature is if you click here on the settings wheel to go to Confluence Administration, and then you navigate over to the left nav over here and click on Spaces, and you land here. And so what we have first off, again, is just these are your spaces, and maybe the pieces that are, I think, relevant to call out is one, this is a new piece of metadata that we're surfacing about spaces, where a common piece of feedback we got from people is like, hey, I have 1,000 spaces and I have no idea which ones are still active or not, to even begin the conversation of like, hey, do we still need this? And so we know that this is also something that's in Jira, so people are used to that. So it's like, hey, how can we, kind of create that same experience, that same pattern, so you can start to do more kind of auditing and making sure that you're maintaining the spaces that you want to, but sunsetting the ones that maybe aren't relevant anymore. So first off, we have that piece.
Very nice. That is like also an admin's, like, that's such a helpful thing for an admin, because I have had jobs in the past where it's like, hey, go clean up this thing. And you're like, I don't know if that's being used or not. I have taken educated guesses that have led to disasters. Not going to say at what company and what kind of disaster, but it was big. And I was like, I just don't know. I don't know if it's being used. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, that hopefully we can avoid those disasters.
Yeah, don't do what Matt did.
A couple other pieces just on the usability here. We do have this initial filter here. If you just want to drill into either just seeing only the team spaces or only the personal spaces, you can do that.
Awesome.
If you do need to find a space, let's say we want to find one. Let's say we want to find this one Caesar space. We can either type in by title of the space and use the search query for that. Mm-hmm. But also this will also search through the key. So if you need to check that out, that's something you can do too. I'm sure people can infer, but you can also toggle here quickly between spaces that have been archived or are in the trash. So hopefully that's a little bit easier to find than it was in the past. And then finally, we do have this quick actions menu right here where you can start to take action, where I think another piece of the general space management journey that might have been tedious is that previously you always had to go to the individual spaces if you wanted to archive them or if you wanted to delete them. Mm-hmm. So again, we just want to create the central place to try to reduce some of those clicks for people, especially for things you have to do more than once. So so we have initially, you can copy permissions from another space if you are on the premium plan, but everything else here is available to everyone on all plans, including the free plan. And what you can do, you can archive a space, you can send a space to the trash, you can go to a space's settings, and then very soon you're also, which I can get more into in a second, you're going to be able to rename a space key from here as well.
There's parts of me I've shared in past podcasts or live streams that I have served as a Scrum Master, and I've seen features where I'm like, this would have saved me hours of time. And I'm looking at this. I did a massive Jira and Confluence cleanup project once, and the amount of like having to go manually to spaces to change things like in bulk meant, like an overnight of just like click, 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 click. This is just so nice. It's so lovely.
I'm glad to hear that. And I think honestly, that's one of the things that we're trying to go more and more towards with all of this is that, we understand that some of the work as an admin can be unpredictable, where obviously we encourage people to use automation rules as much as possible. If it is that recurring type of work, like just set up a rule that matches your logic so you just can set it and forget it. But for the stuff that you can't predict, maybe it's whatever it is, and you're going to have to do a lot of whatever that thing is, making it easier, fewer clicks, all that. We're definitely trying to encourage that.
So fantastic. So fantastic. If you are a frustrated administrator who is relieved by some of these features, please hit that subscribe button. We are like 99 subscribers away from 5,000 subscribers. I don't want to say I have the goal of hitting 5,000, but that would like make my day, especially since on Friday of this month, K15T celebrates our 15th year. We've been in Confluence since beta, y'all, and it would be like so fun to hit 5,000 subscribers on the week of our 15th anniversary. It's a new stretch goal that I just invented, and I'm that ambitious. So like and subscribe. Ask your mom to subscribe. No, don't. Well, if your mom's into Confluence, actually, definitely have her subscribe. Okay. Okay,
Do you mind if I share one more?
Oh yeah. Show us more.
Cool. Just especially because you mentioned it, I wanted to call out one of the columns here is right now what we have is showing who created all of these spaces. But to Matt's point earlier, we do know that people have interest in kind of seeing ownership of a space, like who is the directly responsible individual there. And also, since that's a property that exists in Jira, you can see who the lead is for a project. Our team is actively working on this concept. Honestly, we're not sure what we're going to call it yet, whether it's going to be like the space lead or the space owner. But that'll be something that's going to be part of this feature and part of all spaces coming up in the next few months. I don't know the exact dates. Let's just say the next few months.
Okay. All right. So space owner is not a thing yet.
Correct. Not available yet, but we have people working on it as we speak.
Okay, currently in our dreams. All right, I have a few questions, John, before we go on to the next feature, which has also been in my dreams for a great long time. So can we have a labels list for labels across all spaces? And this is from Dick. This is a really, really awesome question, Dick.
It is. That is a great question. It's something that we have discussed. I think we spoke about it in October, so recently. It's on our mind. It's not something that we're actively working on, but it's something that we're aware that overall managing content is something that we know is just one of the paramount things that an admin might do in Confluence. And I think there's always ways for us to support that better, whether that's more control over what labels are used, who's able to create new ones, whether it's potentially bulk management. We're looking at labels, since we know they're very heavily used, as an area that we want to make a little bit better in the future for sure.
All right. So in this case, it might be on the Confluence whiteboard, but it isn't a Jira issue yet. Womp womp. Okay, well, that's good to know. We understand where it is in the life cycle of ideas. Fantastic question. Do you have any? This is a bit of a specific plan for Confluence, but RG asks, do you have any plans on making Jira and Confluence data be able to be stored in India? So data residency in India. Do you know, John?
I got to be totally honest. I don't know off the top of my head. That's one that I know, like we have ongoing efforts with data residency because we know it is so important to our customers, but I don't know the specifics about India, unfortunately.
I was going to say that is a really good question because data residency is such a big concern for people, especially on this live stream. Check out the link for the AMA session on Friday. That would be a great question to drop into the AMA, especially if you do it now. That gives everybody a bit of time to prep for that because, yeah, data residency is a huge thing. As an app developer, we have really put a lot of work in on our apps to make sure we're supporting the current data residency that the platform allows. But yeah, bringing it to India is a whole new problem to address. John, it's not a question, but it would be great if archiving was available in Data Center so they didn't have to purchase a plugin for it. Just like hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, noted.
I think I did that. Well, Marcus would love to know. Well, I think we answered this one already. If the space owner feature is already live, the answer is not yet, Marcus. In our dreams, it's live. Thorsten would like to know, are there any plans to extend quick actions to this view?
Let's see. I'm not sure I totally understand. What is the ask there?
So I think quick actions are what are used in the content manager, right? I'm not sure.
Would that be like the bulk actions?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what I'm imagining. Thorsten is mentioning is bulk actions. So I guess like from this view, say like archive all pages or archive certain ones.
For sure. Yeah. It's interesting. It's
Yeah.
an area overall that we have, like this is a brand new feature, and so we wanted to set the foundation with where it is today, and then we do have a lot of potential options of where we want to and where we can go with it from here. I will definitely say that the bulk actions are definitely something that's in that short list. I think especially for bulk archiving and for bulk deleting spaces are the ones we've looked at the most. There's also things potentially for usability, like instead of having to, I don't know, even click this three dot menu, could I go ahead and just click the various values in the table and change things from there? So whether it's like the usability items like this, adding more filters, or potentially adding more bulk actions, or not more, but adding bulk actions for space management in the future. Those are all things we're actively thinking about, but I would put them in the Matt's, I guess, like sequencing of things. Not yet a Jira issue, still on the whiteboard at this point. It's not something that engineers are actively working on.
Fantastic. I think we are developing a way on the live stream to quantify where our feature dreams actually are. Such a good question. Oh my goodness, y'all. We have so many questions here. I love this. Let's take a quick break from questions because there's another feature that I really want to look at. And John hinted at it. John, can we rename space keys yet? Because on data center, that's really hard to do. And on cloud, I don't think it's possible. So like, can we do that, please?
Yes, we can. We can do that. We can do that now. And it was funny when you were mentioning that you're coming up on the 15-year anniversary of K15T. We also kind of ended up accidentally nailing a round number with this one, where for those that may not be familiar, this key is something that is an identifier for a space. And it appears, let's say if I go here, I'll go to the settings for this space. You can see here that this is something that appears right here in the URL. And it's, again, I think maybe kind of similar to custom domains in that way of like, this is, I think, really helpful with branding, with maybe there's a reorg or your team changes names, like just making sure you have the up-to-date information or kind of the signifier there for what this space actually is something that people have requested for a really long time. At the time, this was also the most highly requested item specifically for Confluence from our customers. So again, we know it's been something that people have been wanting for a long time. But I guess going back to that round number point, we realized that we accidentally ended up resolving the request for this on its 20th birthday, like on the exact day. So again, probably a bit overdue, but nice to celebrate the birthday with actually closing it. So yeah, so basically the way that you would change this today, maybe actually I'll kind of show this more fluidly. So let's say I'm here on the spaces feature and I see account management. I don't know what this key is about and I want to change it. I can go in here, I can go to the space settings, and then right now you go to the space details page. So this is right now in this manage space section.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then it's basically as simple as I click edit space details and I would change this to, maybe I'll change it to Matt. And then I say, it's my gift to you.
I believe that every Confluence site should have at least one space with the Matt space key. And now this is possible. Thank you, John. Thank you.
I will also put that on the whiteboard of ideas for sure.
No, don't, please.
But
could that be in this new spaces view, please? Like an option to like change the space key to Matt. Just make it easy for us, John.
Maybe we do a bulk action for that. But so this is how it actually shakes out, is once you do make that change, you can see that the key there has been updated. So it's something, actually, honestly, there's a lot of parallels between this and the custom domains work where, again, I think there sometimes was, on both of those request tickets, frustration on like, why has this not been implemented yet? And I think totally fair, especially because it seems so simple. We're just changing that identifier.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, both were very complex technically, and I want to just give a ton of kudos to the engineers that worked on this. And I think maybe the relevant part to call out in terms of how this works is that we're actually using now kind of two different keys here, where this one is going to be more of like a system identifier that is not going to be changing. So once it's there, it's going to be this particular spaces identifier for the long term. And I think the benefits of this approach are that when you have existing links, maybe it's a bookmark or it's something that you've sent out in an email that's from when you had the old key, even as you change your keys to Matt or whatever it's going to be,
That's what it will
your
be,
old
I'm
links
sure.
still, I'm sure, I'm sure. The old links will still work as part of that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just want to call that out in terms of the approach too.
I think this is like, just so everybody knows, this is a 20-year-old ticket because it's that part of how Confluence works has been with Confluence from the get-go. The initial assumption, who knows? I mean, I don't want to say that Mike or Scott wrote this, but there was an assumption with the system made that if somebody made a space, they would never want to change the space key. Why would they do that, right? Like it's a core part of the absolute guts of the system. And at K15T, we make content management apps for Confluence. Our apps all make that assumption. We've had to build like a lot of wild features that help with like URL redirects and things, but that space key is just like the holy grail of the whole thing. So just again with like perspective here, there is a reason it's taken this long because, when engineers are like, okay, should we like make the new editor really great for everybody or should we allow space key changes? It's a big effort, and that's what product teams have to juggle. It's like, of course it would be nice, but like, is there a more impactful thing we can do at the moment? And that's a hard part of John's job.
Yeah, yeah, but it's the fun part too. I think it's one of those where the admins of Confluence are, we understand just they're so important. They're so critical to people actually, they are kind of like we call them internally the keystone of the actions that an admin takes is something that affects so many users. And so even if it's sometimes the work isn't quite as like, to your point earlier, like you demo custom domains, it doesn't quite excite people the way on like the big screen at a conference, the way that like something with AI does. This type of work and the people that do it is so important. And we want to make sure that, we're supporting them and trying to make their lives better and easier.
Okay. Cheers to that. The admins are the keystone. Cheers to you all. You all have done all the dirty work, and it's nice to have teams like John's that are not just giving us the stick, but they're also giving us some carrots. Thank you, John. Cheers to that. We're trying. Just so everyone knows, this is a feature available to all paid versions of Confluence, right? Or no, all editions of Confluence.
Actually, yeah. I think this is everybody. This is free as well.
Fantastic. I love this. Okay, John, we have so many questions to get to. When is the Spaces feature being rolled out, John? Is it available now?
Oh, Spaces is here.
It's here.
We're out here.
Okay. All right. Spaces is here right now, Jonas. Dick wants to know, to make these spaces with all kinds of knowledge work together, is there more support for labels across them? That probably hints back to what y'all were talking about, John.
In terms of the label management I guess we do have categories that people can use for spaces. So that's something that I think is available too if you want to bucket your actual spaces. Maybe for a little another kind of whiteboard item, there's also discussion around allowing people to make templates of spaces. So that way it might be easier to reproduce, whether it is, again, maybe it's that category, maybe it's a permission setup, maybe it's configurations, things like that. But otherwise, I think like labels, again, it's an area that we know is important, especially for managing content. And I guess what I would, like, honestly, I think that's what's been interesting about being in this chair of working with the admin experience features is that there's so many things. There's so many areas and there's so many things we can do. And honestly, it's the hardest part is because you want to do all of them and they totally make sense. So just try to figure out which ones go from that whiteboard to the Jira issues. That's the challenge.
Yeah, it's so true. And as an admin, right, there are some things that we do, like Space templates. Once your enterprise gets big enough, you're just making a space with all of the pages and things already set up, and you're copying those. And it is not fun and it is not great, but it works. So again, John and his team are feeling the pain. And then they're like, okay, which of those ones do we jump on first? Because there is a solution. There is a workaround, right? Like a workaround is a solution. I mean, it's not even a workaround. It's just not fun and automatic. Oh, but I would love to see blueprints come back, John. I would love to be able to set up a whole bunch of, templated stuff. That would be pretty cool, John. Just saying.
Noted.
John, we have a question. Are there any plans to introduce a Terraform provider for Confluence?
I'm not familiar. Do you know what
also
that would be?
am not. David, I'm sorry. I don't know who asked that question. That may be a good question to drop into the AMA so that someone who knows what Terraform is can answer that question. Also, y'all, we're about halfway through right now. If you haven't subscribed or liked, please do. Tell YouTube that something great is happening here, and let's ask it to bring some more admins in. David would like to know: is there a central place where we can find all the Confluence EAPs, early access programs? That's a really good question, David.
Yeah, I think the best place that I would recommend today is going to the Confluence Cloud admins. I don't know if the terminology would be like the area or the section of Atlassian community. It's not really filtered down to only show those, but you can find them especially in that front page of the most recent articles usually.
Are you going to? I don't know that you'll find the ones that you haven't opted into. In that case, I think you'd have to go to the Atlassian community and just search for articles, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is usually what you see there is the invitations, hey, would you like to participate in this? But then usually the EAP groups themselves are private community groups, just since things we might be testing or working with people on are subject to change, and we don't want to get that out there publicly.
Right. And actually, David, a really very exciting feature for admins that was just announced for EAP is role-based permissions in Confluence, which I'm really excited about. And let's not talk about it yet, but maybe at the end if we have time, because I'm really excited about it. Because we have other questions, John. Question related to quick actions or bulk actions and the magic of using something. Will we have that in data center at some point, John?
Ooh. To be totally honest, I think most of the data center questions would also be really good ones for the AMA. I think it's one where I talked to the product managers there, and the ones especially that kind of are in the same admin realm, but I don't know the specifics of their plans and their timelines right now.
Fantastic. All right. Finally, John's being totally honest with us. Took us 38 minutes, John. All right. Now we get the real truth.
Finally.
We have a question around ConfCloud 79010, if you'd like the ticket number. Unfortunately, not all customers have premium licenses. Is deactivating the company hub feature for standard plan, is that going to be an option?
I hate to keep doing this. I don't know. I know that Company Hub overall is something that is a big priority for the team, and so I'm sure they're aware of the request. I would love to work with my team internally to get an answer on that one, since I don't know off the top of my head.
All right, Johan, drop it in the AMA, please. That's the best part of doing this as part of Premium Week, because we are asking all the questions of all the people who know all the things, and that's why we're all asking all. I've run out. I don't know where I was going to end at. So let me just ask this other question from Ben.
I wish I knew more of the things, though. I feel like
John,
I'm saying I don't know.
Why don't you know everything that's being worked on by every team at Atlassian? I'm a little disappointed.
Maybe I need better AI or something.
Is in Jira, changing the key doesn't release the old key until the project is truly deleted. Does the new space key feature work the same way, or is the old key available immediately?
Great question. So the way that it works today is that a historical key that's no longer in use is something that could be reactivated on the same space But if another space, a different space, wanted to leverage that same historical key, you would not be able to. That being said, our team is also looking at allowing you to delete a historical key from a space, so that way you could leverage it on a different space. So that's one that I think is, I believe, is in the transition from being a whiteboard issue or a whiteboard item into being a Jira issue. So relatively soon that should be possible.
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Great question. I'm just going to say, Adrian, for your question about the space, the change key feature coming to data center, that would be a good one to throw on the AMA page so that the data center experts can respond to that. Because now that John's being honest with us, we realize he's not a data center expert. I used to be a data center expert once, but I'll be honest and say I am also not. I think it has dark mode now. That's all I know. My head has been in the cloud for too long now. So Adrian, definitely throw that in the AMA page. We have some more questions, but John, I would like you to please talk to me a little bit about user access. We have some new abilities for Confluence paid users and some new abilities for premium users. Can you tell us or show us a little bit more?
I sure can. So this is an area, and I'll show you how to get to it too. If you click here on the settings wheel again, just above spaces, you're going to see the new feature of user access here in this nav. And I think what's been so interesting to me about speaking to people while I've been in this role is that we will try to schedule a call around, maybe it's the analytics that you're seeing or something, maybe with space management. And so often the conversation ends up spinning back to, but what about permissions? Since we know that obviously it is something that is so important, the sensitivity of who can see what, who has access to what, who can edit, who cannot edit, things like that is so important. And it seems to come up relatively frequently. I know that, there's certain challenges with the way things are set up today. To Matt's point, I get really excited for role-based access that's going to be coming out very soon. So hopefully that's going to also make some of this work easier and more efficient, a little bit simpler for everyone. But what we also wanted to do is kind of, again, set the foundation of how can we make it a little bit easier for people to do things like auditing permissions that someone might have. Mm-hmm. Also to do a little bit more in terms of like, hey, I need to troubleshoot like why someone does or does not have access to this. What can I do there? So what we did is we recently released this new feature called user access. And the way that it works is that I go in here and let's say I'm going to search for myself. What I can do once I type in whatever user that I'm interested in looking into, or group, I should mention that as well, actually. So I think that's actually an important thing I just want to make sure I don't skip over is that we do want to allow for looking at individual users, of course, and what they have access to, but we understand how often people are using groups as kind of the foundation of their permission schema. So we also wanted to include groups in here as well. But once you do select the user group that you're interested in, you can do two different things. And this top part is what is available to everyone that's on any of the paid plans. So not on free, but on standard and premium and enterprise. And what this is the ability to basically download an audit of everything that this user or group has access to. And so that's going to show you all of the spaces that this person has granted access to. It's going to also show you, it's going to include not only active spaces, but also spaces that might have been archived or deleted that are currently in the trash, just so that way you know too, in case they happen to be restored. It's going to also show you then, right now it's more of just like a more simplified breakdown of do they have admin access or do they have access that's just as a non-admin. And then also we have, especially for users, we have specific columns that break down like how did they receive the permission? Is it via being granted it as an individual user, or is it because they are part of this group and or that group, and this is how they got that permission? And so overall, we've just heard time and time again that being able to audit what spaces that someone has access to is way too hard, if not impossible. I think basically people would have to reach out to our support team to have them send them an export. So first off, that's the first half of this that's brand new that we wanted to help people out with. So hopefully that's going to make some of the troubleshooting, the auditing a little bit easier. So that's a big piece of this.
To all paid Confluence users. Y'all have it.
And just so people know, the reason it's not available to free is that there's not permissions there, so it wouldn't really do much. But
right.
yeah,
very empty CSV file. Yeah, exactly. If y'all need an empty CSV file, hit me up. I'll send you one. It'll be great.
But yeah, so this is available to the standard edition too, because we know how foundational being able to manage your permissions are. This second half of it is something that is only available on the premium and enterprise plans. But essentially what we've done is today, if you're on a page, you have this ability to inspect the permissions of it for an individual user. And while we think that's great, we also think that, again, like this theme of trying to make life a little bit easier for admins, we wanted to provide a central place that's more convenient rather than having to go to the individual page or multiple pages. And the way this works is, I can find the name of a piece of content. And then what I can do is I can choose like what level of permission that I'm interested in. And what I'm able to do with this, like, it's kind of, we call it inspect permissions, even though it says with the header specific content. One, I can confirm whether or not this person has access to this individual piece of content or space. And then let's see, maybe I might zoom out just a little bit just to make this easier to see. Then I can see if I have, especially if I'm blocked on something, I think this is where this can be really helpful, is I can see, is this person not able to see it because they're blocked from that individual page? Maybe it's from a parent page and it's inherited permissions. Maybe they don't have access to the space. But rather than kind of sending you on that wild goose chase of like, is it this level? Is it that level? I didn't realize it's from 2 pages above in the tree. I needed to change the permissions there. The thought is like, it just shows you this is the actual level. That's the root of why someone does or does not have access. And then hopefully it makes troubleshooting a lot easier from there.
This is a feature that several Confluence admins and Confluence content creators have given awards to as part of Premium Week. We had just a fun video challenge, and several real life admins are like, this is it, just like period, heard, because you have a lot going on. All right. And you're going to get those Slack messages. You're going to get something in Teams that's like, hey, I shared this thing and people can't see it. And so like, what's going on? Why can't they see it? I don't understand. I can't just like connect with the content tree in this way to divine what is going on. And now as an admin, you have the ability to do that, which I love. What I also love is the fact that we are a little after 45 minutes into the stream, which means it's snack time. And today's snack is brought to you by whatever these cookies are that I found in the kitchen.
I wasn't aware of this segment. I don't have any cookies.
Oh, John, do I not tell you about snack time? Oh, John, all the important things I've missed. If y'all have a snack, it is time to break it out because we are having a grand old time. Actually, John, you don't get to eat a snack because I have questions for you. Actually, we all have questions for you, John. Be honest. KT asked a question about custom fields for automation. Are there any that are attached to pages versus labels? This is a question that I'm not quite understanding. It might be a good AMA question. Does that track for you, John? Are the bigger brains in the room connecting to that?
Maybe this context is helpful. There's not an ability to create like new properties, new fields that would be associated with the page today. But I'd say in addition to leveraging labels for automation rules, like, qualifiers, conditions, a page's status is something that we see used relatively frequently. I guess you can leverage things like the page's owner. Yeah, I guess overall, it's not something where like you can set up new custom properties that would be able to drive automation rules.
It is a very cool question. I know there's also like statuses. Some people are doing stuff with statuses a little bit. Yeah, that idea. It's sort of like custom fields in Jira, where you can create any. I could see the potential. I can also see the potential mess. because as a past Jira admin, I have seen horrible things done with custom fields, but I like where your head is at.
Agreed.
Florian wants to know, will the company hub be available in the Confluence mobile app?
Oh, I like the idea a lot. Again, it's an area that I have been aware of, but I'm not an expert on, so I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, Florian, please add that to the AMA because I would like to know that. I love Confluence mobile app, especially on my iPad. It's my favorite way to create content on Pages. I will not lie. I am very passionate about that. And I am trying to remember who the PM is for Confluence mobile, but I've thought about maybe seeing if they wanted to join. So maybe we have enough interest in that. I'll invite you to join us, John, that way you can find out what kind of stuff is going to be available in the app.
Nice. I'll bring my snacks that time too.
Oh, okay, that's right. You will be allowed to snack. David pointed out that after cloud migration, so they moved to cloud enterprise, they've lost some document management features. So like checking in and checking out attachments, no edit in Office buttons, some of the action buttons. Do you know if there's any plans to bring any of that back? I did like the edit in Office button. I remember that one very clearly. That was nice.
Interesting. The one that is the area that's probably the closest from moving from that whiteboard item to a Jira issue is going to be everything related to storage and files and attachments. It's an area that I think is pretty severely underdeveloped for admins so far. There's a lot of ideas there. I'll leave it at that, but it's an area that there's a lot of thought around right now.
Okay. All right. John Cliffhanger Hooper, like that. I was just going to say, tell me more about the strategy behind attachments, or if anyone has associated the word strategy and attachments with when it comes to Confluence, because currently it's hard. It's hard work, especially if you're working in an environment where you need to be compliant. It's tricky. Mm-hmm. It's tricky business. In fact, there's some app partners on the Atlassian marketplace that are trying to help with that. I see people using Confluence databases to kind of try to manage. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah, no, totally. And I agree. It's an area that maybe not quite as frequently as hearing about perms things unexpectedly. Storage is the thing that comes up the most of like, oh yeah, you see it as a product manager and it's like, yeah, I totally understand why this is challenging, tedious, whatever, impossible, whatever word you want to use. It's fair.
Yeah. Stacy, to answer your question, role-based access is currently only available in cloud as an early access program. So it's not even available to everyone. You have to join the program, and that's currently only on cloud. That has had more than a year of like research put into it. There was a massive audit of all of Confluence Cloud and how it's used. All of the things, all of the features have been looked at. So like an incredible amount of effort has gone in there. I'm really excited to see that go from GA to beta and so on, because that is huge. Lucas would like to know, can he turn off all the Loom ads, John? Like, we get it. Loom is a thing. You can use Loom in Confluence. Loom. I like Loom. I did a live stream all about Loom. Can we just turn the ads off, John? Do you know? Is there a way?
I don't know of a way, but I think that's worthwhile feedback to
throw it. Lucas, throw it in the AMA. I do know Dustin, who's a product marketer on the Loom team, Loom Confluence team. I can ask him. They're very excited about Loom and Confluence working together. Okay, I am as well, but I also encountered one of those ads today. I was like, okay, y'all, like, we get that you're like a celebrity couple now, but like, could we just like calm it down? The first name that came to mind was Brangelina, and that is just so old at this point. Maybe that's perfect for our audience, but like, we get it. Loom and Confluence, you're doing stuff. It's cool. Like AI, whatever. Calm down. Throw it on the AMA. One more question from Dick. Do you anticipate the transition of page space ownership? Is that a feature that will be part of the ownership experience?
Yeah, if I'm interpreting the question correctly, the way, and I'll just go back to it just for fun, the way that we're expecting expecting. The way we're building space ownership is that it will work the same as page ownership of once it's established, it will have a default, but then it can be changed. That's the point of it, is that we know that whether it's someone's role changes, someone leaves the company structure changes, whatever it is, that directly responsible individual is going to change. So we want to make sure that it's a property that can be edited and kept up to date.
All right. I wanted to address Adrian in the chat. Adrian, yes, there are data center experts. Those are the people with like eye patches and medieval armor. You see them at Atlassian events. They're all huddled in a booth, just like ready for action because they know the questions are coming. There are grizzled data center experts. They do exist. Trust me. Throw it in the AMA. Let's see. Harrison would like to see some more Rovo ads. John, could you get us some Rovo ads too in there, please?
Yeah, maybe we'll increase those in the Loom ones. Just really fill it up.
Loomfluence was just thrown out as a great celebrity couple name. I think I'm really into Loomfluence. It just rolls off the tongue.
It does.
Oh, correction from the chat. Harrison would like fewer Rovo ads?
I assume so, yeah.
Come on, Harrison. Okay, all right. I would love to hear about the content manager, John, because I know you've made some improvements.
Sweet.
Can you show us them in like 2 minutes? Because that's the amount of time we have.
I can, and I was wondering
here. Quick.
Yeah, I was hoping we would be able to get to this. So overall, just want to call people out. I know many people use it, but in case you're not familiar, we have the content manager feature. About 1.5 years ago, used to be called Bulk Archive. Yes, premium only. Sorry, going fast. But this is something that you used to only be able to bulk archive here. I just want to show people that we have continued to make a lot of improvements here, where basically you have a good number of bulk actions here today, where you can still bulk archive, you can bulk delete now, you can bulk change a page owner, you can also bulk change a page's status. So there's a lot more in terms of different types of bulk actions you can run. There's also more in terms of filtering, where if you want to quickly go, I don't have any here in this space at the moment, but and find the pages that have had no activity, so no views, no edits in the past 6 months, you can do that. You can also quickly find if there are pages, pages that are not owned by an active user. So that's kind of hopefully a quick way for you to maintain, again, like who's the owner of all of your content accurately. You can also show pages by individual statuses. And I guess overall, the thing I want to kind of encourage here, given that this is a brief one, is that I think we've done a lot here, both in terms of having more of those bulk actions and also having some of those kind of like quick filters to help you satisfy some specific task. But this is another one we're actively working on, and I'm going to be adding a lot more filters to this, as we're trying to go more in the direction of like how you can manage your Jira issues with kind of unopinionated filters. And also this one might be one we're sneaking in where you can also start to edit things inline in the table here too. So again, just trying to reduce some of the clicks. So we're trying to squeeze it in.
John is just ticking off my Confluence wish list here, my Confluence admin wish list. And just confirmation for those who might ask the question, this does work with non-cat related content. Obviously, Cesar is very into cats. I get it, Cesar. Also, I question why there's no big cat content here, just small cat content, but we don't have time for that on the live stream because we need to wrap this up. John, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for caring about admins. There's so much love being shared in the chat for you and the team. Thank you for thinking of us.
It has been a pleasure, and sincerely, the work that everyone does as an admin is so important. So we'll continue to try to make it easier, make it better, just keep giving us feedback, and we'll make it happen.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. All right. Thank you all for joining the live stream. This has been so much fun. Again, remember, this is part of Confluence Premium Week, so check out the AMA if you have any further questions. Also, drop in and answer the question on what did you learn in today's session to enter for a chance to win some swag, because I would love to have you have some of that swag in your hand. And of course, please like and subscribe if you have not, so you can join us next month. Next month, we'll be talking about some Confluence and Jira integrations, how you can use those tools better together. Look at that tagline usage there. I'm like pretty good at this thing, hey, at this point, right? So thank you so much for joining us as we continue to explore how to use Confluence to share what you do best. Bye, everybody.